Okay, so you can pop yourself on a cushion or anything to start with. We are going to start in a Gomukhasana. So your right knee stacked on top of the left one. We are getting straight into those hips. That's it. So if that's feeling too uncomfortable for the minute in the hips or in knees, and as I say, popping yourself on a cushion or something is going to soften around the hips. If that's still not feeling good for knees or hips, then come into cross-legged with right leg in front is fine as well. Okay. So just bring the hands then either to your feet or your knees or the floor, just anywhere that just gently props you up straight through the spine. Keeping the shoulders soft. Good. Maybe close the eyes. We're getting straight into that more intense feeling. While the muscles are cool, ligaments are colder. You're able to stretch into the more ligament or the fibers around the ligaments rather than the belly of the muscle. That yin feeling with that cooling effect, or works better with that cooler effect through the body. Slowing down the breath. So resting either your focus on something steady in front of you or softly closing the eyes. Often in a yin practice, the first couple of poses are often the most uncomfortable, not because the body is not warm or stretched out enough, but because the mind isn't settled. Find a place where the body can just be still so the mind can be still. Strengthen into the breath a little if we need to. See if for the last few breaths here, if you can grow any taller, particularly through the lower back. Notice if the back has started to round or slump back a little bit. Try and lift tall. Shoulders soft. From here, I'm going to take this right leg to sweep back behind you. So I'll just turn long ways on my mat to show you. So right leg is going to go all the way around into pigeon. So again, pad out your front thigh with a brick or a cushion if that's more comfortable for pelvis. Otherwise, come wherever you're comfortable, forearms to the floor. Just allow the body to rest over it, more in that sleeping swan feeling. Either allow the head to just dangle, or resting the forehead into, again, maybe a cushion or your fists or the floor. Just really wherever your body feels comfortable to stay, finding stillness. If in any of the poses, particularly while we're holding them a little bit longer, you feel the body start to tense up or they're finding some resistance in the pose, either take a few breaths slightly out of it and allow the body to soften in. We don't have to get into the deepest part of our stretch on breath one. So give your body time to move into it. Those tiny little somatic movements, just allowing the fascia to stay soft and relaxed. Just notice over the course of the breaths how your body adapts into the space it's got. Sometimes when we're holding, we can either move in deeper, or sometimes when we're holding, we need to move out of the depth of the pose. It gives us an opportunity to really listen, paying attention. From here, we're just going to bring a twist in. If you feel good where you are, please feel free to stay where you are. If we want to add in a twist, bring the right forearm to the ground and the left palm next to the bent knee. So you're going to turn your chest to look towards that left side of the room. So you're turning in towards the bent knee. Again, just find a place where your neck feels kind of comfortable. Maybe the head is just hanging. Focus back into the feeling of your breath. Each time you exhale, think about the abdominals just drawing gently in towards the spine, creating that support system for the spine. Take a last full breath where you are. Unravel the twist and gently sit down onto your front thigh. So we're going to take the back leg to come all the way around in front of you again. Keep the left knee bent and keep the right leg out straight. The left leg stays then out to the side into Janu. Okay, so the left sole of the foot is against the inner thigh of the right leg. Grow tall as you inhale. Then as you exhale, find a soft fold here. Again, this will feel a little bit more comfortable if the hips are elevated on a cushion or a brick. If you'd rather use your strap to fold with, then please use that. But try to keep the shoulders soft. So maybe instead of the strap, the hands tuck under the calf muscle just to help anchor the body down a little bit. Those feet are more mobile through the legs, maybe you hold on to the sides of the feet. Try and think about the sit bones tipping backwards towards the back of the room. The breastbone lengthening forwards towards the toes. You can stretch the spine a little bit longer. Soften the head, soften the shoulders. Take a couple of deeper breaths. See what happens. Last couple of breaths where you are. Very slowly begin to roll yourself up. Now again, I'm just going to turn to show you. So you're going to keep your right leg out straight. Bring the left knee up to face the ceiling and just give that knee a stretch out if you need to. We're then going to fold it around the other way. So now if you need to have a cushion underneath this knee for a bit of support, please take one. The knee will feel more comfortable if it's turned outwards, perhaps. Ideally, we have the knees together. Okay, that will be a slightly different alignment or feeling for each of us. So knees together if we can. Again, hips can stay propped up onto cushions, which will make it feel a little bit softer. As you exhale, forward fold. The body will feel a little bit more restricted over this hamstring with that left leg folded back. Try to keep the left sit bone pressing down. One side of your body will want to roll up here, so keep sitting it down. Flex that right foot if you can, pull the toes back. Good, Chris, I got you. That's it. Chris, try interlacing your hands underneath your left knee and use that to draw forwards into. Yeah, good. Gonna just soften your neck slightly, look down a little. That's it. Take a deep full round of breath where you are. Very slowly begin to roll yourself back up straight. Keep the legs as they are. Walk the hands back behind you. So hands can face either the back of the mat and you lean into the hands. And think about reaching this left knee forward so you lengthen the top line of this left thigh into your quads. If there's room to deepen further, then fold the forearms into the ground so you lean back into the arms. Keeping that left knee reaching forwards and down with the heel close to the buttock. Slightly activate the left buttock so that you press the hip a little bit higher than your knee is. If you're getting any pinching of the knee here, just unravel that left leg so you have both legs straight. Just skip this one out. You don't want any pain in the knees. We won't hold here for too long as the neck is floating. So just take a deep full breath where you are. And then gently press back into the palms to bring yourself back up again. Bend that right knee so the foot comes to the floor. You're gonna bring your body forwards and slide that left leg back behind you. So you come into a lunge with your right leg forwards. Place the back knee softly to the floor. You can place a cushion under the back knee if it's more comfortable. Good. So just let the front of your left hip now really open. On the back of that knee, lengthen out a little bit, just counterposing those folds. So if it's comfortable, you keep one hand either side of this front foot, so your body can almost just rest into that front thigh, like the knee is kind of under the armpit or between your chest and your arm. If it's more comfortable to have the hands on the inside, then take where you need to be. Last couple of breaths here in this lunge. And from here, take your time, come into an all fours position. So just slide this right leg back into all fours. Tuck the toes and come into a downward dog just to stretch out through the back of both knees. Give the feet a little paddle there if you want to. You're going to step the left leg forward, so however feels best to get there. You come into your lunge, but with left leg forwards. Place the back knee to the floor. Again, we're going to hold here in the lunge just for a few breaths. So again, if we can, keep that knee kind of resting into the space between your chest and your arm, so into that shoulder socket kind of space. So your body could just gently lean into it. Maybe you can take that back knee just an inch further away, so you've lengthened through the front of that right hip. Good. Soften into it where you can. So just lift the body up very slightly and wriggle that left foot towards the right side of the mat, just a nudge. Lift up the back knee, and your back knee is going to then tuck in. So you start with the Gomukhasana that we started with, but with the left knee on top now. So if that feels a bit too complicated, sweep the legs around in front. Your left knee is stacked on top of the right one in Gomukhasana. Very good. So again, same options apply here. If it feels a little bit too strong in your knees or in your hips, take the cross-legged with left leg in front instead. Okay, if and when you're ready to, find a fold into it. And remember, one side might feel different to the other. So if this side needs a cushion underneath your hips, then take any support that you need, or a cushion under the knees. Pad yourself out, so we'll be here just a minute or two. So this is one of those poses that you may feel the body start to tense up a little bit for some of us, maybe the shoulders or the hips. So if it helps to just keep that very soft, gentle movement, swaying the shoulders or roll the hips a little bit, just to prevent that tension building in, then feel free to keep that moving. Deepening the breath is also going to offer that movement, that softness and release. Take the last couple of breaths where you are. Very slowly begin to lift yourself back up. So now you're going to take your top leg, your left leg, around behind you. So you end up in pigeon with the right leg in front. So squeeze it round. Again, maybe a cushion underneath your right thigh or the right side of your bum to help support you. Bring the forearms forwards. Find the place where you feel rested into it somewhat. If it's tricky with the knees, then you can keep, rather than the turn out of your right leg, just come into a parallel line. It's just a bit more gentle. From here, we bring in the twist if you wish to. So the left forearm stays on the floor. The right hand is going to come next to the knee. And then turn the shoulders, turn the chest towards the right side. So feel your left hip bone draw closer towards the heel underneath it. See if you can soften the neck just slightly. And then as you deepen the breath, just that gentle squeeze of the abdominals coming towards the spine, just to support that rotation. Slowly unravel the twist. Sit down onto the right thigh. So you're going to bring your back leg around in front of you again. So this time the left leg is straight. The right knee stays bent. Give it a little stretch out if you need to. Keeping the right sole of the foot connected to inner thigh and tuck the right heel close to the groin. Again, sitting on a cushion or a brick or something will feel a little bit more comfortable. As you next exhale, take the fold over the leg. Keep that soft, keep it gentle. Use the strap if it's helpful. Hands either resting to the floor or under the calf muscle or around the foot. You don't have to get to the depth of the fold in breath one. See what happens over the course of the breath. See if you can feel where you're able to let go a little bit. Last couple of breaths where you are. Very slowly begin to roll yourself out. So we keep the left leg as it is. Your right knee is going to lift up to the ceiling and then tuck the heel around to the outside of the hip. Again, ideally here, the knees are together. If it's more comfortable, then take the knee a little bit further out. Okay, the foot stays folding backwards. As you exhale, fold back into that left leg. It may feel a little bit more restricted. You may need the hands on the ground to try and keep your sit bones feeling as level as they can be. The right sit bone will possibly feel lighter to the ground, but keep it drawing back if we can. Drop your shoulders, Chris. Good. Last couple of breaths here. Slowly roll yourself up straight. Keep the legs as they are, and then leaning backwards into it. So think about the lengthening of the top line of your right thigh. Slightly tuck the tailbone. You can drop into the forearms if that feels available. And if there's still room to deepen, just lightly activating the right glutes to just lift the hips up a little bit as you reach the right knee forwards. Again, if there's any pinching or uncomfortable knee pain, then just release this one out for now. We won't hold here too long. Find a place where the neck feels good to just be for a couple more breaths. Feels comfortable, drop it back, let the throat open. Breathe slowly as you need to. Bring the head back in, press into the hands, lift the body up. So then bend your outstretched left leg. Bring the hands forwards. So you're coming into lunge. Slide the right leg back. The left leg is forwards. However feels best to get there. So this time we will come to the arms on the inside of that leg. So we're in a lizard pose. Again, I'll just turn slightly so you can see. So arms on the inside. Let's say keep the knee fairly close to the shoulder. You're going to open the left toes out a little bit. So you can allow your knee to then open a little bit away from the shoulder if that's okay. Again, with knees and with ankles. Any knee stuff going on, then maybe keeping the leg parallel will feel a little bit more of a good idea. If we can deepen in, then take the hands further forwards without dipping through the spine. So if you're seeing your back thigh, look forwards to help drop the hips and lift the chest. Try and maintain that spine if you then lower down through the elbows. Maybe just one elbow, maybe two elbows, maybe neither. And this is one that feels quite different day to day. So stay at the place that gives you release. Maybe you don't get there on breath 1, maybe you get there breath 5 or breath 10. Give your body time to adjust. So stay as you are. Just another option if the head is hanging here. I'll come closer to the screen so you can see this. So your elbows can stay on the floor, and then bring your thumbs together, the tip of your thumbs, to rest into the fold of the tip of the, sorry, the top of the nose, where your nose meets into your eyebrows. So your thumbs rest into that place. You can just, it's sort of in the eye sockets, a little pressure point there, which will also help release a bit of tension in the eyes if you've been looking at a screen all day. So you can just let the head kind of rest in to the thumbs. Keep the if the elbows are down, that will feel comfortable. If the elbows are not down, then be whatever feels helpful. This offers a little prop or a little rest for your head. Take a last breath where you are. And release the eyes. Bring your hands back to the floor. Step back either through all fours or straight back into a downward dog, just to release and neutralize the hips, the legs, give any soft movement to the body. From here, the right leg is going to come forward. So we take lizard to the other side. So right leg steps to the outer side of your right hand. The back knee softens to the floor. Again, think about lengthening the spine. So looking forwards and up with the chest. Then you begin to maybe take the hands forwards. Maybe the forearms come to the ground. Be mindful or just conscious of where your front foot is facing. So either you're keeping it parallel or you let it turn out, letting the knee open away from the shoulder. There's no right or wrong to it other than what feels right or wrong for your body. If over the course of the breaths, the elbows do come to the floor, maybe finding that head rest into the tip of the thumbs if it was good. Last couple of breaths where you are. Slowly bring the hands to the ground if you're on the forearms. And again, step back in towards the downward dog, or all fours. So from here, lift the left leg towards the ceiling, just slightly, so it floats away from the ground. You're going to bring your knee towards the right wrist and then kick the foot out towards the right. So you're going to lie down onto the right side of your leg. Onto the right leg, onto the left leg that's kicking out to the right. Then bring the forearms to the ground. So your leg's gone underneath you. Left leg under and out to the right. That's it. So try and straighten that left leg. Kick out through the heel. Keep the toes tucked at the back. So you try and roll your hips in towards the floor. That's it, Bernard, you're right. So you may want to grab your left foot and just shimmy it up a little bit towards your shoulders. Yeah, and then try and really straighten out through it. Kick out through the heel, flex the foot. Good, try and keep the shoulders square to the ground. Again, you can either rest the head into thumbs or stack the fists for the head to rest into, or have a cushion under the head. You can relax the back leg if that's still tucked. And hopefully getting a stretch around the outer thigh of your left leg. Last couple of breaths where you are. Slowly bring the hands to the floor. From here, you're going to turn towards the right. So you come into a soft straddle between the legs. So turn yourself in. So you'll turn towards the back of the mat. If straddle isn't comfortable, go in and take a Baddha Kodasana if you'd rather have the soles of the feet together. Otherwise, let's keep the legs out long. We're just going to take a few breaths, again, not too long here. Just in a fold, so walk the hands between the legs. So let the head drop in. If you can, try to keep the knees opening back if they're straight. Last couple of breaths where you are. Slowly roll up your body. Bring the hands back over towards the top of the mat. And then unravel your legs to come back into your downward dog, just to realign the hips again. Bring any soft movement that feels helpful. Just gently float the right foot away from the floor and then bring that knee towards the left wrist and kick the foot out again to the side. Then you're going to sit down onto that outer side of your right leg and bring the forearms to the ground. So you're going to find that outer thigh stretch. To start with, keep the toes tucked at the back so your knee lifts and square the hips up towards the floor. And then you can let the back leg relax down. You're kicking out through that extended heel. Curl the toes back towards you. Find a place that the head can rest on a fist or cushion or hands. Last couple of breaths where you are. Slowly press yourself up, and again, I'm going to turn into the legs, turn around in the space between. This time, I want you to tuck the right heel in, keeping that half straddle or soft straddle with the left leg out. Bring in a neck release, so it doesn't really matter where the legs are, just sitting up straight. Bring the left hand out to the side of your body. The right hand is going to lift up to the ceiling. And just begin with a side stretch over towards the left. Just go towards the lengthened leg. That's it. And lift up straight through the lower back. So lift taller. That's it. Allow your head to hang heavy towards the left shoulder. Let the head fall asleep. Take your floating arm, your right arm, to reach away from your torso. So it goes out the other direction. So reach your hand out towards the right. And imagine someone has hold of that wrist and is just gently pulling the arm so it draws the shoulder further away from your ear. Stretch the fingers open. And then you can play around with whether that palm turned up or turned down, or the head just micro adjusted slightly. Just softly move the arm and the head around until you find that deepest point of the stretch that runs between the ear and the shoulder. Maybe through the shoulder, down the arm a little. Try to really let the jaw relax. Allow that right arm to drop down 2 inches lower towards the floor. And allow that right arm just to feel heavy down the side of the body, so it's relaxed. Keep the head hanging heavy. Last couple of breaths here. See where else you can soften. Maybe that supporting arm. So from here, where the neck is quite delicate, we don't want to contract this right side of the neck to lift your head back up. So try taking the weight off your left hand, and then use the left hand to fully lift the weight of the head back up again. So press into the side of the head to lift you up. Good. Just take a moment there at center, just let the hands relax down. Noticing any sensational differences one side of your neck to the other. And then we'll switch sides with that. So straighten out your right leg and tuck the left heel in towards the groin. The right hand is going to rest out to the side of you. Left hand lifts up and takes you over to that initial side stretch. So try and keep the back feeling lengthened rather than any slumping. And then on an exhale, let the head hang heavy so it just falls asleep towards that right shoulder. Take the floating hand then to reach out towards the left, away from the torso. And stretch the fingers open. Reach the wrist out as far as it'll reach away from the torso. And just find those micro adjustments, just moving gently through the arm and through the head just for a moment. Just exploring the sensations in the neck. Find that deepest point of the stretch. And hold there for a few breaths. Allow the jaw to relax. Just allow your left arm just to drop down 2 inches lower towards the floor. And then allow the left arm to just feel heavy but resting down the side of the body. Last couple of breaths where you are. So again, to come back up, see if you can take the weight of your right hand, so that right hand can fully support the weight of the head to press it back up again. So you don't switch on the neck to lift it back up. Good, then replace the hand. Just give the shoulders a little roll down your back. And then come down onto your backs. Just bring the knees into your chest. And take a little rock side to side on your spine. Keep the right knee with you, so hands around the shin or that thigh. And then lengthen the left leg away along the mat. Just holding here for a few breaths. Feel the breath rise and fall into the right thigh and away from the right thigh. From here, just keep the right knee bent, just allow the foot to find the ground. Then open the knee out like a tree pose, or like the seated fold we did earlier, but now we're lying down, obviously. Bring the arms back behind you, maybe in a cactus position, or maybe just lengthening back, just to create the feeling of an open space through the ribs, through the front of the body. Just allow the weight of the right leg just to hang or drop into the floor. Just acknowledge the movement of your breath. Move right down into that lower space of the torso, right down into that inguinal ligament. It runs between the hip bones and the pubic bone. Staying where you are, take a full breath in. As you exhale, draw the abdominals down as you lift that right knee towards the ceiling and all the way over to the left. So keep the knee bent. You're just going to let the right side of your bum leave the floor. Adjust the hips as you need to, adjust the arms as you need to. So you come into a twist. The right toes can either stay resting on your left leg or find the floor. Again, wherever kind of feels best to come to. If it's helpful to keep that leg kind of anchored over, just gently rest your left hand on top of the thigh, just to hold it in place rather than any forcing or pulling. Try to keep that right shoulder towards the floor, or the shoulder blade sliding down the back of the ribs, so the chest space stays feeling fairly open. And come back to that feeling of your breath again. See what happens on the exhale. See if you can find a little bit more space to move into, a little bit more room to let go. Stay where you are. Take a full breath in. As you exhale, very gently roll yourself back flat to your back. Keep this right knee close in towards you. And then when it feels right to scoop the left knee in, so you have both knees with you. Hug them into the body and just take a little rock side to side on the spine again, just to massage your back into the floor. So this time we'll keep hold of your left thigh towards the torso as you lengthen that right leg out along the ground. Just let the right leg feel heavy and long against the floor. Hands either interlaced around that left shin or around the left thigh. Just moving the breath so you feel the belly rise into that thigh and then exhale to fall away from it. Just gently let that left foot then find the ground and let the knee flop out towards the left. So we find that tree pose. The arms just don't be out to the sides or back behind you. Find that open space through the body. Use each time you exhale just to let the body feel heavier or floppier into the floor. Staying where you are, take a deep breath in. And use your exhale, abdominals draw down, the knee lifts up and goes all the way over to the right. So again, you can just adjust your hips or adjust the arms as you need to. Maybe your toe is resting onto the leg or onto the floor. Maybe your right hand is just lightly resting into that thigh, just to help anchor it down slightly. Slide that left shoulder blade any further down your back so the chest feels open. And move the breath through the torso. Staying where you are, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring that knee back to the center, just lying flat to the ground. And then bring yourself into any variation of a Shavasana. So if you need to just have a little wriggle just to get yourself comfortable. So in your Shavasana, you may want your legs up the wall or on cushions, knees staying bent or out completely flat into that corpse pose or true Shavasana. Feel free to pop a blanket over you or any layers on if you wish to. Have about 4 minutes here, so really indulge in that stillness of the body. Softening the feet, lower legs, upper legs. Everything around the pelvis, hips, glutes, lower back. Soften or create a heaviness through your torso, through your rib cage. Create space and softness around the shoulders. Sense of release and floppiness through your arms and through your hands. Sense of softness and space around your neck and throat. Allow the jaw to switch off. Allow the cheeks to soften, the forehead to soften, the eyes to feel settled and still. Keeping your concentration, your focus with the breath. Nothing to do other than to be. Begin to deepen the breath. Allow that to feed a little bit of life through the softness of your body. Bring some very soft movement to the fingers or the toes. Maybe just swallow in the throat. If they aren't already, then maybe bend the knees so your feet find the ground. Just let your spine reset into the floor. Take a deeper breath in. And a soft flush out. Roll yourself over to one side. Just take your time from there. You can stay there as long as you like to. When you're ready to press through the hands, bring yourself up to seated. Keep the eyes closed if you can on your way up. Doesn't matter which way you end up facing or how you end up sitting. Just bring yourself upright. Bring the hands onto your heart center with the palm against the chest and the other palm on top of the other hand. Close your practice this evening with one thought of gratitude. Acknowledge one thing that you really love about yourself. And just recognize how getting to your yoga mat has served you in some way today. And then bring the palms together. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, bow your head to your hands. Thank you guys. Namaste. Well done. Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Thank you.